If you've been a Christian longer than a minute, you are probably painfully aware of the fact that faith in much of the Western world is in a downward trend. Over the past decade, study after study has revealed a sharp decline in religious affiliation, church attendance, and belief in God, while the number of people identifying as having no religion has grown rapidly. Why is this the case? Well, it's complicated. Not a mystery, but it's complicated. Some of the problem is definitely a culture around us that is becoming ever more hostile towards religion. If you're interested in a philosophical look at the major currents working against Christianity in our world today, check out the first part of this series here. Otherwise, what I'd like to do at this video is look at the internal problems we have as Catholics. Here are 5 major issues within our faith that are driving people away and what we can do about each. Number 1, Christians not acting like Christians. Jumping right into the thick of it here, let's call it what it is: hypocrisy. People today are tired of scandals, tired of being lied to, tired of people saying one thing and doing another. Especially among young people, there is a strong distrust for institutions today because of hypocrisy. And we have given them reason to distrust. An entire generation of the church was lost to the cover-up of sexual abuse. Once Catholic strongholds like Boston and Ireland have been decimated, ranking among the least religious today. But it's more than just the big stuff. It's the gossip. It's the greed. It's the lack of compassion for people in tough situations. It's the running people down in the parking lot immediately after Mass. I'm not suggesting that every Christian is a two-faced liar, but we know that all of us have acted in unfortunate ways at times, and that there are some very poor ambassadors for the faith out there. If we want to attract people to the church, or at least just stop driving them away, we don't need to achieve impossible feats. We just need to be the people we say we are. It's the number one thing that people under 30 say that they're looking for. Authenticity. That means feeding the poor, showing mercy to sinners, forgiving our enemies, and living with the joy of the resurrection. Basically, being more Christ-like. If you look out on your congregation and don't see hundreds of people reflecting the mission of Christ, people are going to be driven away. Act like him, and people will come. Number 2, irrelevant preaching. Most people are going to be able to overlook the occasional hypocrite as just a part of our human nature, but preaching that doesn't feed is not going to be tolerated. I've seen it everywhere I've been. People will vote with their feet and go somewhere else. Maybe another Catholic church, maybe another denomination, maybe nowhere at all. And let's be brutally honest with ourselves. Preaching in the Catholic Church is bad. On the whole, generally true in most places, it's suffocating. I've been to Mass in a lot of places over the years, and I almost never hear a homily that has any bit of inspiration. I can count on one hand the amount of times I've left Mass thinking, wow, that homily touched me deeply and I feel compelled to change my life. It almost never happens. Rather, what I often hear are generic stories, rambling lectures, beautiful sounding platitudes that have no bearing on anyone's lives. I heard someone recently say that all they ever hear from the pulpit is pious dribble. Things that sound nice and make you feel content for a second, but are so irrelevant to one's life that you forget about it the minute it's over. Am I being too harsh? I don't know. What I do know is that survey after survey notes that poor preaching is one of the top reasons people fade away from church. It may not be as bad as I'm saying, but it is certainly a problem. So what can we do? For lay people, it's a bit out of your hands, but you can do something. Raise your voices. Offer constructive criticism to your priests. Let them know when something really works, and offer some gentle feedback when it doesn't. The sad reality is that most priests get almost no meaningful feedback, one way or another, and many can go their entire lives not realizing that people are yearning for more. As for priests, I made an entire video with advice, but let me distill it down to one point. A homily should be an answer to a question your congregation is asking. What are they asking? Don't just explain the reading, speak to the real existential worries of our world. Good preaching only comes when you are in touch with these questions and grapple with them yourself in prayer. Number 3. The lack of intimate relationships. There is a private element to faith, no doubt, but faith is not a private practice. Everything about who we are as Christians is meant to be lived together. Our worship is in the context of a meal. Our sacraments rely on the presence of another. Our mission is to be in communion with others. Community is not just a bonus, some nice add-on. It's the reason we're here. Meaning we don't just need warm bodies to fill seats, we need people who are willing to grow together, walk together, cry together, and die together. Is that the experience of the average Catholic attending Mass on Sunday? I highly doubt it. For most, the people around them are anonymous bystanders, privately offering their devotion in close proximity. Many do not know the name of another person at their church. Many do not call their parish a home, either because they've never known how to connect, or worse, were never meant to feel welcome. If we want to fix this, we need to do more than just be pleasant, more than just offer a few events here or there. We have got to actively form parish families, host events that build fellowship, facilitate small groups, make it known that we are there to support people in their trials, and then ensure that people are trained to do so. Some people will prefer to remain anonymous no matter how hard we work, but many are dying for intimacy. Our world is suffering from an epidemic of loneliness. If we do not satisfy their longing for fulfilling community, they are going to go to the Protestant church that will, or worse yet, entirely replace religion with Sunday football. Make the parish a home, and people will never want to leave. Number 4. The LGBT issue. The Catholic Church has always believed and will always believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that any sexual activity outside of the covenant of marriage is sinful. This is not in question, and I have no interest in challenging it. At the same time, the Catholic Church has always believed and will always believe that every human being is created in the image and likeness of God, and that no one is defined by their sin. This is also not in question, and I have no interest in challenging it. The LGBT issue that we have is not one of sexual morality, but of compassion and mercy. There is a legitimate fear and hatred in the Catholic Church of our brothers and sisters with same-sex attraction or gender identity issues. I'll give you an example. I made a video a while back talking about the FRIAR's refugee camp in Mexico, how there is separate housing for LGBT persons because they are vulnerable to abuse from even the other refugees. We provide food and safety to vulnerable people. You would have thought that I said we were promoting gay marriages. While many comments were supportive, many others were aghast that we would do such a thing. You better have told them that they were sinners and need to change their lives. Common refrain. I tell you what. Treating people like that, defining them by their sin and judging them, is not going to win people over. It is not going to change many hearts. For a world that is becoming more and more sympathetic towards LGBT issues, attitudes like this will do nothing but drive more and more people away. We need to be clear about our teaching, absolutely, but all of it. That we stand for truth, but never belittle sinners. We welcome them. We're patient with them. We encourage them to change their lives only after we have befriended them and gained their trust. And how do we gain their trust? By treating them as loved members of God's family, by recognizing their inherent dignity and defending their human rights. There is an LGBT issue in our church. It's our repeated failure to welcome them with compassion. And finally, number 5, partisan politics. St. Oscar Romero was a prophet in our modern world. He spoke against a government that killed innocent people, and he lost his life for it. He was not afraid to tackle difficult topics, and he most certainly got involved with politics. In one of his radio addresses, he said something that has guided my life since the day I heard it. This is what the church wants: to disturb people's consciences and to provoke a crisis in their lives. A church that does not provoke crisis, a gospel that does not disturb, a word of God that does not rankle, a word of God that does not touch the concrete sin of society in which it is being proclaimed. What kind of gospel is that? Just nice, pious considerations that bother nobody. That's the way many people would like our preaching to be. Those preachers who avoid every thorny subject so as to not bother anyone or cause conflict and difficulty shed no light on the reality in which they live. The church, by its very nature, is political. It lives and works in the world. It stands for truth and morality. When evil exists around us, we cannot stand idly by. When governments or institutions are hurting people, we cannot remain silent. The gospel compels us to be involved. What it does not compel us to do is to become involved with a political party. There are undoubtedly Republican stances that are in line with the Catholic Church, and we should applaud them. There are undoubtedly Democratic stances that are in line with the Catholic Church, and we should applaud them as well. But neither party represents the gospel. Neither party is of the kingdom. In one way or another, they represent a culture of death, a false god to serve, the temptation to fix our problems through moral compromise and corrupt power. When a preacher gets up at Mass and endorses a party, when he lets partisanship get in the way of discipleship, when every homily is about political matters and not about the matters of the gospel, people are going to leave. Our world is already being torn apart too much by political divisions, already forced into too many false dichotomies. As active as our churches should be in the world, they should never be of the world, extensions of political action groups. A Catholic Church that defines itself as liberal or conservative has lost the game because these are not godly terms, they are political terms that do not align with the gospel. What makes the church different, what speaks to the heart of our world, is that we point beyond these divisions. We should be showing a way out of these camps, not reinforcing them. Model the kingdom of heaven, a place where unity is sought and cherished, and people will come. Of course, even when we do all of this right, we still face an uphill battle in our world. We may create a place where the kingdom of heaven is alive and well, but what are we doing to combat the cultural forces attacking faith from the outside? If you're interested in a video that looks at the biggest reasons people are becoming atheists and what we can do to combat them, check out this video next.